Hi everyone, my name is Sandy. I use she, her, pronouns, and let me be the first to say that we are so excited to see that you're interested in participating in our campaign. I'll be your main point of contact for the Cougs Speak Social Norms campaign, and I'm really excited to walk you through what are social norms, why they matter, and how they help shape the health communication materials you'll be creating for this project. You'll most likely receive emails directly from me or my good friend Opeme. I will try to insert a picture of her right here. And we'll be here to support you throughout this entire process, from understanding the theory to designing your poster or digital message. We've also created some lovely materials on our website. This has structured guidelines, a step-by-step process, and all of the examples that you might need to help make sure this is a clear and manageable project. I'll talk about more of those at the end of the presentation. For now, let's move on to what are social norms. So, social norms are the rules a group uses to determine appropriate values, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. Some norms are explicit, meaning we talk about them openly and are aware of how others influence our behavior, while others might be implicit, meaning we don't consciously notice them, but they still influence how we behave and what we choose to do. So, at the core, social norms work because people often want to fit in or behave in ways they believe are normal for their group. We often use this example right here. Right here is a picture of people standing in a line, and research has found that if a line is forming, people will sometimes join the line, even if it leads to nothing, simply because they assume others are standing there for a reason. This is really important for health behaviors, which is why social norms are used so often in prevention campaigns. There are two major types of social norms that help us understand how behaviors spread. We have descriptive norms. They describe what people actually do. For example, according to our WSU data, over 94% of WSU students choose not to drink and drive. This reflects the real observed behavior. Injunctive norms focus on what people believe they should do, the behaviors that are valued or approved within a group. An example here is that most WSU students believe it's important to look out for their friends. Understanding these two types of norms explain why people follow certain behaviors, either because others are doing them or because the behavior is seen as a correct or expected choice. So, why social norms for behavior change? The belief behind the social norms approach is that we generally want to be like others. What we think other people are doing influences our own behaviors. This is why social norms are so powerful in behavior change campaigns. And it's exactly what the Cougs Speak campaign aims to do, to highlight the healthy behaviors most WSU students already engage in and to shift inaccurate perceptions. All right, but here's the issue. Oftentimes, our perceptions are inaccurate. We tend to overestimate unhealthy behaviors and underestimate healthy behaviors. So, when these misperceptions spread, they normalize unhealthy behaviors, even when most people aren't actually engaging in them. The Cougsby campaign uses real data we have collected to correct these misperceptions among WSU students. So let's take a look at some examples. One of the strongest findings from our data is the huge gap between what students think is happening versus what is actually happening. For example, students believe 72% of Cougs experience alcohol-related injuries, but in reality, only about 10% do. They think 66% ride with a driver who drinks, but only 17% actually do. They think 48% of students post something negative after drinking when only 2% post negative content. So, if this is the case, in reality, most WSU students make healthy choices, but students often think their peers are engaging in risky behaviors much more than they actually are. When this happens, the inaccurate belief becomes the norm, and it can unintentionally encourage unhealthy behaviors. A social norm campaign steps in to correct these misperceptions by highlighting the healthy behaviors that most Cougs already engage in. We help students feel more confident in making safer choices, and this is exactly what the Cougsby campaign aims to do, to replace the misperceptions with accurate, positive descriptive norms based on our real WSU data. So typically when you're creating a norms campaign, you would follow the steps that are here. For Cougs Speak, we're following the same approach. The data has already been collected through a survey we conducted with WSU students, And now we're asking you to take part in the create a messaging portion. So we're asking you to use our data to create engaging visual materials such as posters, flyers, or digital media that can clearly communicate a positive research-based descriptive norm. So on our MacLab website, you will see something called Cougs Speak Fact Sheet. Using one of those statistics, you will apply that to, again, a poster, a flyer, or that digital media content that you're creating. So let's go ahead and take a look at some examples. All right, let's take a look at some examples from other campuses. These posters all highlight positive, accurate descriptive norms. I really want you to take notice on how clean these messages are. So it's using one strong statistic, and then it's also providing that what most students already do fact. So 86% of UAI Bini students have partied without using alcohol in the past year. So when you're creating, designing, or evaluating your design, just make sure that you're keeping these questions in mind. Every strong social norms design should have a clear message, it should encourage a safe behavior, it should use an accurate statistic, and directly correct a misperception. This one is especially relevant to our work because it matches the type of data we have for WSU, so you'll likely be creating something similar. This one especially has a clear, accurate descriptive norm based on their campus data. So here's another example. This one has a very clear message. It has a positive statistic, and this one is also especially powerful as it also provides a refusal strategy. Within your Coug Speak campaign, you do not need to have a refusal phrase. This is just an example of how campaigns can also add supportive messaging. So this one on the right side says, "No thanks, there are many ways to refuse a drink," and then it has a statistic on that left side. So in terms of some more examples, the example on the left is a different population. However, it still employs the same methods. So it's still highlighting the positive reality and it's still looking to correct an inaccurate perception. The one on the right side, this one is more casual phrasing, but the approach is still the same as it's still looking to normalize a healthier behavior. What should we be avoiding? Good campaigns avoid scare tactics or judgment. They do not moralize, shame, or blame students. They also avoid showcasing alcohol too heavily because it can unintentionally glamorize that behavior. Your overall goal is not to tell students what they should do. Your goal is to highlight what most students are already doing on campus. Some tips for your message to be effective is that it needs to be clear and strength-based focus, using positive messaging. You should use just one statistic from the fact sheet. Anyone passing by your poster should understand your message in 3 seconds or less. So we're asking you to help us create a poster, flyer, or digital visual for the Cougsby campaign. You must use one statistic from the WSU fact sheet and then turn that into a clear, positive descriptive norm. Make sure your design is simple, readable, and immediately communicates the real behavior most Cougs engage in. For the Cougsby campaign, we focus only on descriptive norms, so what students actually do. That's because our goal is to correct misperceptions using real WSU data. Oftentimes, injunctive norms, which are about what people think they should do, can sometimes feel moralizing or judgmental and are less effective for behavior change. Since our dataset measures actual behaviors, descriptive norms are the most accurate and appropriate type for this campaign. This project helps us build an accurate student-centered prevention campaign that will be deployed here on campus. All right, and we're right at the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching this What Are Social Norms video and for your interest in participating in the Cougsby campaign. I highly encourage you to return to this video as many times as you need while you work on your poster, flyer, or digital design. And for a more detailed step-by-step breakdown, please check out our guidelines page on our website. It includes everything that you need for the Cougsby campaign. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or my good friend Opeme. We are here to help and support you throughout this entire process. Again, thank you so much for contributing your creativity and your voice to this campaign, and we look forward to seeing what you create.